The evolution of large international organizations. Since World War II, the world as a whole has been on a continuous wave of peace and prosperity, but now it is beginning to turn. The wave was mainly led by the United States and large international organizations early on. Correspondingly, the interaction of their series of actions is what causes the turning point. This could lead to the decline of our civilization. Decades ago, 2 atomic bombs were dropped to end World War II. Its shock wave shocked the whole world, and peace replaced war and became the historical trend. Large international organizations were established to avoid another major war. While their mechanics are far from perfect, they are necessary. This also announced that America has become the main theme of the historical movement and continues to play. From a musical perspective, the large international organizations serve as the chords, while the United States is the lead singer. The United States promotes the continued prosperity of global society. After the war ended, Western Europe, Japan, and East Asia all recovered rapidly because they received aid, orders, and technology from the United States, and created growth miracles. A large number of key technologies have been integrated and mass-produced by Americans, and have been promoted to the world after passing the test of the American market. Improved global efficiency and reduced costs are the basis for global prosperity. Therefore, even people living in the most backward areas now have better living conditions than people in the most developed areas 100 years ago. This is brought about by the improvement of technological level. During the same period, large international organizations were also developing their influence. Due to its existence and the deterrent power of nuclear weapons, the number and scale of wars have continued to shrink. Gradually, large international organizations began to transform due to changes in the social environment. Transformation is intentional. Large international organizations have developed a wide variety of forms that enable them to expand their influence at the expense of open societies. Their activities attract increasingly closed societies, but can have disastrous consequences. Expanding influence is conscious. This is the result of irreconcilable goals, the desire to expand influence while maintaining a strong network and reducing spending. When sufficient reductions were not possible, the desire to raise funds by expanding the department while recruiting more members became stronger. This is a good thing for international organizations themselves. Expanding the budget during periods of sustained peace and prosperity is a positive cyclical process that benefits the organization. But unfortunately, for countries with open societies, this process is a vicious cycle. The expansion of international organizations has made it harder for open societies to function. It has drawn from different governance systems around the world to participate in the process of joint decision-making, as more members join. The conflicts at the negotiating table become more intense. And the proportion of votes cast in an open society becomes smaller and smaller. In fact, it is a zero-sum game mechanism. The net effect is that the host international organizations expand, closed social systems gain a foothold, and the vote of open social systems continues to depreciate. The expansion of international organizations has stimulated the economy to a certain extent. Without him, developing countries, closed societies would not be able to develop so fast and so big. Under the coordination of this organization, the influx of orders, technology, and capital from the open society allowed the closed society to quickly accumulate a trade surplus. Growth, coupled with low labor costs and strong subsidy policies, closed societies have worked wonders. For a long time, international organizations have developed a large number of forms to attract more closed social entities to participate in international affairs. Correspondingly, Rulers of closed societies increase budgets, expansion networks for international organizations, further strengthening the influence of international organizations and forming a cycle. This has deviated from the main business and forgotten the original intention, Chapter 1, Article 1-1, to maintain international peace and security. However, from the perspective of effectiveness, except for a few departments, other departments developed by large international organizations have not played their due role. For all the accolades they win and the vast membership fees they have no higher ideals. With the pandemic and the ensuing Russia-Ukraine war and Middle East issues, the peaceful and prosperous international social structure is being challenged. Closed governance systems are undoubtedly destroyers of structure, based on their own mission. But this is intermittent. The continuing saboteurs are international organizations themselves. Although they are not directly involved in the action, they have developed mechanisms that tend to close society and even provide convenience to those who exploit loopholes. Why does this happen? I find part of the answer in analyzing the activities of these organizations. In theory, the mechanisms of international organizations should be neutral. But in practice, the effect is asymmetric. International organizations are particularly good at finding the soil for corruption and taking root there, exploiting local suffering in exchange for sympathy and money from around the world. They have no intention of radically improving and saving the natives. Constant disappointment molds the natives into aversion and alienation from civilization. War, plague, and natural disasters also contribute to the legitimacy of their actions. How to accurately describe international organizations? If they were a company, this would undoubtedly be a successful company, but they are not. Nominally, their status is above all countries, and the reason is that people all over the world recognize the word international. At the same time, international organizations have strong capabilities, the largest political networks and the most convenient political channels. In reality, they have no noble vision. The reason is that there are far more principled clauses than binding clauses, and their actual role is far smaller than that of the state, even smaller than that of trade unions in developed countries. Their contribution was so little. After elimination, I believe that international organizations are the godfathers of the world during this period. International organizations provide a platform for gentlemen, but it is not well maintained. When more and more hooligans flooded the dance floor, the gentlemen were at a loss as to what to do. Just like Gresham's law, some people even walked out. Today, the rules have been manipulated. This is quite dangerous. In principle, international organizations have great power, and they have power over war, peace, even if it has never been demonstrated in the past few decades. Once driven to do bad things, international organizations become the driving force of chaos. People in open societies should pay attention to this, act, and resist, lest open societies are threatened. As the leader of an open society, the United States should strive for more leadership in international organizations. But currently Americans are more willing to discuss narrow issues. This creates the opportunity for malfeasance. I hope America continues to be prosperous and stable. Even though I am not an American, what I admire more is a basic moral system for all mankind. The prosperity and stability of the United States are the foundation for peace and prosperity in contemporary international society. Only in this way will the forces that cause war, poverty, and oppression be restrained. If you are an American, you have the power to choose how to make your country a better place. Your country's continued prosperity will also actively safeguard international organizations, and at the same time indirectly, deeply positively affect us, as foreigners. So hope you guys will continue to study the scientific and philosophical ideas developed from ancient Greece. Maintain the continuously improved legal system since ancient Rome. Maintain the enterprising spirit from free trade in the UK to the exploration of Mars. And cherish the Statue of Liberty sent by France. It's not easy, but it's not too much to ask.